screws? At what point is your corkscrew going to break? Phase 2 hasn't really yet been in this scenario. So as we move into Horizon Lunar Colony, Phase 2, they can, definitely try something new here if Pika stays. Of course, as the words leave my mouth, Pika is not going to be staying on the Diva. It is pure goats for Phase 2. So again, rulebook here is pressure the objective fairly quickly. Try not to take too much damage as you make your way onto the objective. But Phase 2, we set it on Li Jiang. They kind of just throw that playbook out the window occasionally.
Yeah, and looking at Square One's map win differential, every map they win 3 out of 4 of them. They're all around 75%. They actually took control away from them, which was their highest one. Got that map from them, so they've set them for a victory. They really need Horizon Lunar Colony, but Square One really need it too. And so they're going to go ahead and take this defense. Phase 2 going to have to try one more time in this Goats versus Goats matchup.
Again, if we think back to the standing, Square One sitting in that 3rd seed right now, they would really have originally liked the clean sweep against Phase 2, but since that's no longer possible, they'll still be hoping for every map win they can get. So, looking pretty good ultimate-wise. Ultraviolet very close to the Transcendence. You know, most of the ultimates, or half of the ultimates, very close. Earthshatter and Grab also possibilities for Square One. In Phase 2, we've seen many a team kind of just waffle and waste a ton of time on their route to the objective. Oh! That's a time waster.
Oh, beautiful shatter from Jolf. You can hear it in our voices, right? The guttural sounds. That's how good that feels. In Phase 2, it's going to get sent right back to spawn.
Mostly mucus for me, but it did feel good. I mean, Phase 2 was almost at guard as I was there in the tiny hallway. Usually we see Reinhardt's so much more cautious with their ultimates, waiting for the perfect setup. Can we combo this? Just, I guess, pressed Q, went in hard, and Phase 2 getting the wind taken out of their sails right now, so they're going to try for that left side flank instead.
I like this because we've seen that right side flank so many times, and this is going to be different. Maybe Phase 2 or Square One have not practiced this as much, and another eaten grab from Pika. I think that's 2 on both sides at this point in time. It's a total tally. Square One going to use that Transcendence for this fight. They want to keep this defense going. Is going to get CC'd to Oblivion, but the Transcendence was there from Nishik. Angelic going to be going down first. This is a great opportunity for Phase 2 to come back onto this objective and take it. The sound barrier is the punctuation that they needed. Phase 2 are going to be taking this first point, but Square One were able to take some time off the clock. Yeah,
a little bit of time here, and more importantly, some ultimates from Phase 2 so that they can't just steamroll them on point B. Duplicate racking up quite a few kills for his team here. This is, good news for Phase 2. He's definitely a Reinhardt that you can play around, and he's going to have Earthshatter again. As Square One actually looked like they might be going for that out of chokehold. Oh, so close. Jolf nearly got through that doorway.
Yo, Square One took a ton of damage before this fight started, and Phase 2 took advantage of that. So this is a total point A take possibility for Phase 2. However, they have had a hard time cleaning these points up, letting Square One come back here, and they're going to go ahead and use that shield dash onto Jolf. So again, that means that it's not going to be built for someone else. The pile drive is going to keep this Earthshatter from doing anything onto Square One. All of Square One is back, but Big All going to fall really early on. Duplicate getting taken down. Self-destruct in the back line. Is that going to be enough? No, it will not. Hot Date is almost demech, does get demech and get sent back. We're seeing that problem here again. These kills aren't happening cleanly for Phase 2. This is Assault, so Square One is going to get that nice defensive spawn advantage, but Phase 2 so close to getting that last piece of progress.
Yeah, it's Onyx, 90% to yet another grab. The shatter comes in. It's massive duplicate. Holy cow. And now that's one way to clean up a Hammond there. Graviton is that cherry on top. That's right. Finger snaps all around. Wow. Phase 2. Dang, son.
Yeah,
Damn, son. Okay.
I said the words, yo, look at this in a cast. That is something that, I'm going to think about for the time being. But Phase 2, man, yo, look at that. They look great.
Right? Square One themselves going to be like, yo, dude, what happened there? they tried to take that slow fight. They were like, oh, well, we evened things up. Indeed, if my dissertation on GOAT's ultimates does prove true, we will each have about 2 to 3 entering point B. However, phase 2 is like, get that textbook nonsense out of here. Square One, try and poke a little bit out of that choke and just be like, can we get a little bit of Zarya bubble charge?
Yo,
here?
I got to be in that class without the textbook, okay?
Yeah, yeah, it's just all up here, man. All up here. You got to feel it in your heart. Phase 2 bowled him over. You saw the thinking coming in from Olu. Get that shield from Jolf weak. Try and whip shot him into the arms of your own team. And even though that didn't work, Jolf was so low. Everybody from Square One was so low that they could do nothing but die and hope that the respawn would come in fast enough for another contest.
Yeah, Square One took so much damage beginning of that fight, and that's got to be set up by a Fire Strike in, potentially other good grenades coming from the Zarya, the right clicks there, and some long distance damage from Inishik, but 3 of them were below half health before the fight even started, and phase 2 amped it up. They ran, they sprinted into that second point, and they almost lost it out just for a second.
Just for a second.
With those spawns, they were able to come back.
Great shatters from Duplicate, absolutely in phase 2. Take that full map completion. Of course, though, we've praised this team before, and then they've put up a defense full of holes. Everybody's Pastafari, and they're just wearing sieves on their heads.
Well, it's just kind of Contenders in general, right? Defensive full of holes. So let's go ahead and see. We're going to see a defense here from phase 2. Usually this first point A does go pretty quickly. Phase 2 actually held quite a long time on this first point. Let's see Square One are going to be able to take it a little bit quicker. They sure do want to, because they want a little bit more time on the second one, because phase 2 were able to use that snowball potential to grab that second point. We're still not yet at our engagement. We're potentially going to see a little bit more full charge before we do. Actually, no. Jolf is going to go ahead and make his way onto the objective. You're hearing that ding, so that means that they're going to go for it. Square One, they're going to go ahead and seed that space. The amped it ups, I believe, have been used. FaZe is using it to heal and try to boot someone into the rest of the team, but and it works. Duplicate taken down. Phase 2 are going to grab this defense, and this is actually something that the Gladiators did against Fuji University. I think ultimately kept them from winning was they played too patiently, right? They took so much time off of the clock.
Weird space.
Yeah, they took so much time off of the clock.
Oh no.
That is.
He's got a hot date with the ground.
Please put some funny music on, please. I need to see that. Yeah, but anyway, like, they took so much time off the clock that now minutes.
I mean, NYXL, famous for, hamstringing themselves by playing too patiently, waiting for Jonak to get a pick. So, Square One right there. They just fell victim to the better coordination from phase 2. Their Reinhardt fell first, and for whatever reason it was, that kill still happened. And again, Square One under so much pressure.
Regardless of phase 2 win or loses, I like what they're doing. That's not a normal big DC here on Horizon Lunar Calling, maybe because it doesn't work, but now the first kill is going to be coming through from Square One, and now they're going to have an open point. But what I was saying earlier is I'm glad they did that, because traditionally in this match specifically between these two teams, when phase 2 does something out of the ordinary, they've actually been able to take that fight, using that aggression to their advantage.
Exactly. Square One always seems to be doing a double take as to what phase 2 is bringing to the table. That time around, though, bomb combo unsuccessful. Pika died before he could re-mech due to some good focus fire from Square One. So now phase 2, they're all bunkered up together, 6-man death ball, and they're not going to try and do what Square One did, get a little bit too greedy, because they can, sit back and relax at least a little bit. Nishik and Faz both have those support ultimates up, so that's at least, hopefully one fight.
Sound barrier will nullify most of whatever the self-destruct does. Sound going both ways. Now Urshad are going to be going down onto Square One. That first pick from phase 2 is a big deal for these initial defenses. You don't want to see them just walk into the second point, just like phase 2 did at Square One, or the old-fashioned way.
The first point B defense is the scariest place for the defenders. It's so easy to snowball. You must win it cleanly in order to have a good shot at holding for, 4 minutes and 42 seconds. So that's no, small time to sniff at. Phase will at least have the Transcendence ready. Olu with that rally as well, but Square One coming in here. Dove has been very successful with these grabs so far.
It's honestly going to be closer to his from now, so there is a world where he just is able to kill before Dove gets any closer to his, and you actually do want to try to rip the work right now because Dove will catch up. Big All going to go ahead and use that rally, and FaZe2 going to be respecting the rally, going to give them a little bit of space, and now we're seeing that Graviton Surge come out. Dove very close to his. Earthshatter is there, some displacement as well, but FaZe2 unable to confirm any kills. Oh, this is a scary situation for FaZe2 now, as they're going to be victimized by Square One's ultimate, and now Duplicate goes down. Pika needs to find someone with this self-destruct, and it does, and it's Angelic. So if Square One want to see the way from a fight or retreat, they're going to be unable to amp it up. Will not be available, but Pika's mech as well. Its mech not going to be available. Though, doing a little bit better here on the second fight, staying together, letting these picks come up them, and Square One find themselves with an advantage, and the Shatter's going to go down. The Transcendence is going to be there as well, and the picks keep happening, but the wipes aren't.
Yeah. Those picks will always fade the defenders at this point. Soundbearer almost perfectly timed with the grab, but the focus fire still burns through those shields in a hot second. Ultraviolet finds the head of its Onyx. That's actually a big bad for FaZe2. Not a lot of damage coming through for the defenders now, but they still have some bodies left, but for no longer. A couple of members falling here, but Duplicate finds the charge kill.
And the Soundbearer is going to be back for Square One as they enter the objective once. You are going to have all 6 members, but no, they can't get staggered like this. But they would have had all 6 members if there was more time available for them, right? They spent so much time on the edges of the objective that they were able to get progress. Square One was, and then their hand was forced.
Yeah, it was just kind of unlucky reactions from FaZe2 right there. We had a moment where Pika threw that self-destruct out, and if he had been able to get a kill, even a single pick, it would have meant the world to FaZe2's defense. But as it was, then he couldn't get the pick with the ult. It's like, D.Va, go in there. We're right behind you. We believe in you. Flies out onto the objective. Somebody's got to do it. Gets demeched immediately. Boom. That's more defender down for FaZe2.
Once Pika went down there, it was pretty much the end game for them. Didn't mean to make that pun. FaZe2. FaZe2 is, you know, they got 3 minutes and 54 seconds, so they are ahead in the time clock. Square One is going to be attacking first, and we're going to see the same thing we did last time. No bunker comps here. No get here.
No Junkrats.
No Junkrats. Good old-fashioned Babas.
Babas. You know, in Chinese, there's actually no distinction between sheep and goats. Yeah, they're both called yang. Anyways, so Square One, they're going to be hoping there's no distinction between their first and attacking rounds. They had a really good shot their first time. So now, again, just speed onto the point, try and take space fairly early. Keep yourself available to see if anybody in FaZe2 is mispositioned that you can capitalize on. But as it stands, FaZe2 just holding that high ground again, like we expect.
Yeah, we could maybe see Angelic scoot to the top and get some displacement down with a boot, and you're going to see him try to scout exactly what that's going to look like as both Lucios stick it to the wall, using the power of music to cement their shoes onto the wall ground. FaZe2 now is, though, this defense. Square One taking their time on this one. They're trying to wait for the right moment. This has actually not worked out for them in the past. FaZe2, though, gonna get taken very low. Pika so close to getting D-Neck. Olu getting very low as well, but the rest of the fight is on the objective, and I think because some of the members of FaZe2 were getting hunted, the rest of Square One were left vulnerable, and FaZe2 take advantage of that. Exactly.
Pika taken extremely low. Hot Date zooms right after him, trying to finish that D-Mech, but because that happened, its Fire Strike ripped through Square One, finds so much damage, and Square One now gonna be on their second attack, forced to regroup. So you never quite know. If Hot Day was able to get the D-Mech onto Pika, this might be an entirely different fight, but as it were, his team really needed that defense matrix and it wasn't available.
Last time we touched FaZe2, jumped right down, try to beat him to the punch, but seeing a little bit of a different way. They're going to find themselves on top of this one. A minute and a half left for Square in this objective.
Oof, a little bit of an awkward reposition charge there from Jolf. FaZe2, you know, you can say that they've just been playing a textbook game, but that's what's been earning them this solid defense. Square One now will finally be coming up towards some of their own ultimates. Nowhere near the almost 6-pack for FaZe2, but they have some good options here, and do seem to prefer to take those fights when they have, you know, an obvious play ahead of them. Grab into bomb, maybe shatter to bomb.
And so FaZe2 have a ton at their disposal other than the sound barrier, which could by Square One. Matching phase pretty much. These two need to get a good shatter. They need to make sure they don't over-invest in this as well. Jill moving his shield around, very, very scared for what might be coming at him. There was no self-destruct. Follow that up. He's going to go ahead and use that right now. Duplicate is on the ground. Graviton Surge is there. Self-destruct from Hot Date. It's a little late. Man, showing up late to a date is not what you want to do. That is not a good first impression. Square One now investing that Transcendence. They have to invest everything now that we're seconds. This is going to be the last opportunity that Square One have to grab this point, and that is going to be a great pick from Hot Date there. 6v5 now for phase 2, but the point is being taken from, is going to be taken from phase 2's hands right now because Ultraviolet, at least he was able to use that Transcendence. These health bars are not looking good for phase 2 right now. Square One does have the at their disposal. Big almost able to use that rally, and this damage mitigation is proving to be exactly what they need to win this war of attrition against phase 2 on that last point.
Oh man alive, what a great shatter from Duplicate. Angelic was dead to the world, dead to rights, but Hot Date, what a redemption story, providing that Matrix exactly when his needed it, in the perfect position to save his Lucio, because again, Square One could not afford to lose members on their very, very last chance to capture point A. So, bomb combo now available for Square One, and oh, what a frag!
Oh, that can be brutal to enter this point at a 6v5. That is an insane advantage for the attacking team, and you're just seeing phase 2 give up these ticks because there's no way they're going to win a fight with less numbers. Now, Pika going to use that self-destruct. He has to make it back into his mech. Only getting that pick, though, is going to make things interesting. Square One had an advantage, but now have all 6 members. Hot Date, this is your opportunity. Self-destruct doesn't get anything. Sound barrier has gone down for phase 2. Graviton Surge is going to happen as well. They're finding themselves on top of this fight. Square One are able to grab 2 ticks, though, on that last point. It's better than nothing. They grabbed the first, they grabbed those 2 ticks, but again, this is a story of phase 2 doing well up until they have to pull out the clutch factor, and they did not do it again on that last point.
Yeah, point A was a little bit unlucky. I would say, though, that phase 2, you know, we're working with what they had on that last point. Sometimes there's nothing to it. You just get found across the map by a fragging counterpart, Ultraviolet, who has been playing a great game now that he got that trans timing down. We still remember that on King's Row. But phase 2, you know, able to buy time with that self-destruct, waiting very patiently, and that patience paid off for them. They kept Square One from finishing out the map yet again, which would be another hurdle for phase 2 to try and overcome. You can't just think about this round, you got to think about that next round. But the win condition is now set for our green team. Dove kind of heated that grab into nothingness. That was a really unfortunate grab from Dove, kind of, you know, again, handing phase 2 an opportunity, which they took.
And so phase 2, minutes and 54 seconds to play with for their attack. That's actually pretty good, considering that they do need to make it to that second point. Let's see if there's going to be an investment in scouting here. Honestly, it's not necessary. Square One hasn't been really bringing out this other stuff, and when they did on Lijiang Tower, it did not look good. So at this point, I think it's safe to assume that it's going to be Goats.
And Pika is picking that Diva right out of the gate. No surprises here. Again, we're likely going to just see some hard eye contact. You know those line dances and stuff you see in those old-timey movies where the teams just, where they kind of just like rotate around each other and don't touch? Oh, that's a touch! That's a fire strike right to the face!
And so Square One going to do exactly what phase 2 failed to do on that same exact kind of defense. They jump early, but while phase 2 had a gravity change, Square One are going to find themselves with a nice like romantic era novel.
Exactly, an arabesque out into the cornfields or something like that.
The novella of how goats work.
Phase 2, not going to be super deterred, but when you do lose those fights in such fashion, you give Square One a ton of ultimate charge. Jolf already 90% to that shatter. Big all to the rally, everybody nearly above 50%, whereas phase 2 themselves, the closest will be its Onyx. So drop down again right here, just trying to see, break some shields, and Duplicate wants to go in.
This is a sticky situation, but phase 2 going to upon Jolf, saving himself from a potentially disastrous situation there. The Diva and the Reinhardt were separated from the team, but now the Diva from phase 2 is also going to get DMAC. They're going to let Pika earn his
That's actually fairly merciful here. Jolf, though, goes in, immediately brought only 80 HP, but it's Duplicate who falls big all now, really feeling that mace to the face. And Phase 2 now getting a taste of their own playbook. That was unexpected.
Yeah, unexpected indeed. I love that teams have kind of adjusted their GOAT's play style to be a little bit more aggressive and be so good at that and taking tempo away. It's, again, everything is so rehearsed. When you put in a new dance move in your choreography, you put in a new part of your solo, right? It's going to take a little time to adjust to, and the good teams are going to adjust to it quicker than others. Right now, Square One adjusted to Phase 2. Let's see if Phase 2 is going to make that adjustment against Square One.
Exactly. You'll have to bring the right shoes to the dance. Both support ultimates up across the aisle, though, so these Graviton Surges may not find quite as much value as their owners are. But now it's Duplicate's turn to lay down his own shatter. Square One have to drop at some point.
Square One's dropping right now. Let's take a gander at those health bars. Hot Day is kind of low. Jolt is going to get his heals. Ultraviolet and Angelic both have their... Oh! Is very low. Oh, man, if it's Onyx was able to land that, that would have been very scary. Pika is stunned, and now we're going to see the fight onto the objective. Sound barriers coming both ways. Jolt's going to go ahead and use that Earth Shatter, miss completely. It's Onyx the only one, but Graviton Surges are out from both sides. No casualties just yet as Ultraviolet and Nishik both investing the Transcendence. They're big all getting the first pick in this fight. It's huge for Square One, but he's going to fall victim on the very next sentence. Phase 2 now have this 5v5. Hot Date, though, has a mech. Pika needs to get back in his phase, though, with that kill. The Reinhardt keeping their hopes and dreams alive to try to get this upset potentially be a reality, though they have to get this first point. It is 46 seconds left between them and the second point. They're getting what they need. They need to get it a little bit quicker. They got to find themselves onto this point. They got to take it.
Ooh, Alec, though, gets burned down. He's going to be singing with the Angels for just a little bit until he respawns for point B. Big investments from Square One to try and go toe-to-toe with Phase 2, but you have to remember, as the you don't have that space or those ultimates to give sometimes. Luckily, though, Ultraviolet is only 10% away from his Transcendence because roaring in here will pop the Grav sooner rather than later.
Ultraviolet, that trans needs to be exactly what these Ghost Trances needs to be. They have to counter these ultimates, and he's actually going to use it a little late. He's going to find more value because of it, even though Hot Date is demeched because of the self-destruct. Jolt getting that charge kill. Remember, any kills for the defensive side is so good for them because of those spawns, but Jolt is going to get taken down, so they're not going to have that shield. And look at the aggressiveness Square One is pushing into Phase 2. That sound barrier, they knew they had extra HP, and they rocked their faces off.
Oh, yes, right. That was the kind of pit bull dog aggression we see from Square One. Pika can only, again, lend his mech onto the point to start the first time, and it's going to be desperate for Phase 2 to get anything done right here. Duplicate going to roll back to respawn as Square One is set to hold.
Square One, once again, by the skin of their teeth, get another map win. All three maps pretty close, honestly. Square One did give up that point A, but they were able to take 3.5 minutes off the clock before the snowball potential, making Phase 2 feel the pressure. They had to get it on their one push. They were successful on one push last time. This time around, though, Square One knew exactly what they were working with, punctuated by that sound barrier at the end. Yeah,
very unlucky, just that, you know, Phase 2 couldn't find much value from those Earth Shatters, from those grabs. While they did land, the damage did not follow through. I still, though, just want to point out a great boop from Pika to nudge Jolf out of the way. That's what allowed Duplicate to find one of those closing shatters, which unfortunately only closed the door on Phase 2's chances.
Well, I think at this point, though, you can't bring Phase 2 out of this because Square One didn't come into that map and absolutely destroy them, right? It seemed like that might happen the way that point A's went, but that went to extra innings, that went into overtime, that Kings Row, Lijiang Tower, Horizon Lunar Colony, all close so far. But this is actually really good for Square One, too, because as you go into playoffs, right, you tend to face better teams because they made the playoffs, right? And you need you need these kind of clutch moments to practice because this is the only time you get to do that. So the fact that they're coming out on top of this bodes well for their maturity going into playoffs.
Absolutely, because we do have to remember that as, you know, as dazzling as Square One has been throughout this season.
As dazzling as goats can look, right?
Yes, as dazzling as bedazzled goats. I don't know if that's really a step up or down. But Square One, they started as an open division team, right? So all of these moves, all of this, you know, synergy and team play has been built off of the backs of a, you know, entirely new roster who began at the very bottom of, T3 and worked their way up now into Contenders proper. So you're absolutely right, Boop. While the mechanical skill and, game sense is absolutely there, there's only, there are going to be moments where you cannot prepare for it. Only experience will give you, the insight into how to react. I didn't like that last time. We're going to try something new this time. So all very valuable stuff for Square One.
Well, I think a really good example of that would be Fusion University, right? For how many Game 5s they've gone into, right? At this point, they're not nervous about them, right? Think about how much power that brings you.
We were forged in the Game 5 set.
To enter the Game 5, right, and just be kind of nervous. A little extra stress, but you've been there so many times, right? You've won so many times. Exactly. Just like any other game. That's what I would like my team to know is if you find yourself in a situation like that, you have to play calm. Nothing's really different other than your current situation, so you got to play clean. That's when the basics start going away. That's when you see Phase 2 let Square One come into that game once again. That happened again on Horizon Lunar Colony, where Phase 2 had an advantage they did not push and actually lost because they did not push those advantages. And so Phase 2 losing out on those two men, I believe, come down to moments rather than play. But now that we're going to be Junkertown, I don't think a 5-game set is out of the question, but Square One seemed to have Phase 2's number. It matters.
Exactly. You don't have to win every fight, just the right fights. Square One have been able to find those wins in spades against Phase 2. Junkertown, again, a pretty snowbally map if you get things going on point A, or rather just right out of the score map. Then Streets Phase should have the ultimate bank to be able to tempo Streets Phase pretty well in your favor. So this is where wacky comps come to live. So Square One, they gave, the Hammond Pharmacy, Sombra Tracer, Dingle Dangle a go on Li Jiang.
The old college tries, what I call that.
Oh, really? You didn't call it the Dingle Dangle?
No.
No, that must have just been
I didn't
my
go
grandma.
to the same school.
Yeah. But Phase 2, they have the option to change things. Square One themselves, no surprises, goats again. And Phase 2, though, duplicate on the Bastion. We've seen
crazier things indeed. A lot of times the come out originally just push the defense away because a lot of teams have held up close, and maybe we're going to see that here. Yes, Jolt's going to make his way over to the payload. Square One is going to be close. Phase 2 need to find themselves a way to get onto it. Nishik on this is different than what we've seen. You get that sleep dart, you're able to take over that fight. Phase 2 have made themselves available onto the payload.
never would be shenanigans are happening since there is still a Sombra on the field. Exotic's going to have to go for the second EMP, see if he can get a little bit more value, and he'd really hope to have it right now because Square One themselves coming into 3-4 ultimates.
Phase 2 will have the sound barrier, but that's about it. Will Pika be able to get to that Graviton Surge? And we're actually seeing a weakness of Phase 2 right now, the fact that their Diva player is not on Sombra right now, because that's typically what we see is Jolt's going to get that first blood for Square One. This is looking like a good fight for them. And so my question to you is that a detriment to this team, or would you rather see Pika just kind of like force the Sombra almost, or give it the old college go, because I think Exonix is a little bit better on Zarya as well.
The Dingle Dangle? Yeah, I mean, at Phase 2, I'm guessing that they're doing this for a reason. Maybe it's because Onyx is more comfortable on the Sombra. Maybe Pika is more comfortable on the Zarya. Because on paper, there's a lot to be said for, you know, the theory crafting and armchair compositions. But when it comes down to it, you want your players playing the heroes they feel best on. And Phase 2 right now, they're up, backs against a wall. This is their last shot to try and claim point A, and they got to do it against the full 6-pack.
Dub not quite at that Graviton Surge, but Phase 2 is going to get shattered to oblivion. 5 members on the ground, but no kills just yet. Pika did throw the Graviton Surge out right before dying, but that's just a consolation prize. The boop not going to be enough as well, so Square One made that a little interesting at the end there. If that boop goes through, that would have been intense, but I still think they would have been able to get that defense, but now Phase 2 need to rush back onto the payload.
I don't know if it's going to be possible. Faz is still alive, but with Nishi gone now, he's not going to be staying alive for much longer once he touches this payload. Pika is back here, though. Owu ready with the rally is going to have to be a massive one.
EMP doesn't get a ton of value from Phase 2. Duplicate going down proves that this might be doomsday for them. Square One will be holding early on point A. This is not a usual place to hold. It's a little bit further ahead, but Square One looking strong. It's like Phase 2 used all of their energy on those first 3 maps, and it looks like they did, because coming into this one a little lackluster, you know, just a little winded.
It's like when you go to a con that's like 3 days long and you blow all of your cash on like merch the first day, and then you're like, ah, balls, now I'm hungry and all I have to eat is airplane pretzels. Yeah. Phase 2, they came into this series very, very hot and, you know, took a map off of Square One, but again, kind of the veterancy of this team, their experience has pulled through for them on defense. Phase 2 weren't going to be taking them by surprise again. And the way that Square One have been, you know, targeting Phase 2's heroes, I feel, is very indicative as to how well this team communicates together, right? So Jolf gets that pin kill, or rather gets the pin but not the kill. Pika somehow stays alive, but then the entire mass of Square One floods in behind Jolf, and Phase 2 really had no chance. They got split. It was kind of like one of those beautiful visuals where from up top you see like the stream of Square One players come into this single point, then they all boom, blossom out and spread Phase 2 apart and then take them down individually. Really good stuff.
Yeah, and it's good to see that now, because we haven't really seen a ton of that in the first 3 games here, as it's been very, very close, but it feels like everything's been righted, right? Square One, we said it after the second game,
the planets are now realigned.
Yeah, like we said it after the second game, but there's still Phase 2 was, I think, punching upward less than Square One playing down. But now I think Square One know what they're doing, potentially using Dove as a scouting Widowmaker, but now Square One are going to be leaving spawn potentially with this Bastion.
Beep boop. Time to, you know, just pad those highlight reels. Nah, Dove gonna swap back, and so is Hot Date. No need for the Bastion when you're so confident with your Diva play, am I right?
Well, the other thing is they weren't holding up close, and the Bastion's really good at pushing them further back and making sure that you can get on the payload, and sometimes you'll see teams switch, or maybe you'll just stick the Bastion onto the payload and see how far that gets you, especially here on Junkertown. It's Onyx is in a precarious situation, but now is able to translocate away, was able to get close to 50% on that EMP, but there's just so much time on the clock for Square One and knowing where they need to go, and with this kill onto Pika. I don't know how I feel about this Sombra look from Phase 2 right now. It has definitely been the worst look out of all 4 maps, but again, the old college try, we see it, the old dingle dangle from Phase 2, but Square One approaching this white box of victory.
Square One are going to tie things up here on Junkertown, and as far as looks go, Phase 2 had a couple, but they were both like mustard corduroy pants. Not very good. You either get up to that nano boost very quickly or you get the EMP. But Square One realized that there's no way that Phase 2 have, you know, the leeway to change their composition since they're on defense. And so Square One are like, well, Hot Date, just eat all the nades and then we'll just push forward. It's up to Phase 2 to hold them back with the power of that Sombra, and unfortunately, you know, she didn't eat her Wheaties today.
Well, there wasn't a full circuit with that Sombra, right? Because Pika was on the Zarya as well and died first a couple times. And when you get held that early, I'm just going to go ahead and say it one more time. I'm questioning that team comp at the end. And now we're actually seeing why it's so important for your Diva to be on that Sombra, right? You want your Zarya to be the standard, I think. If you're switching out your Zarya, you're putting too many variables into your team comp with someone else playing that character.
You know, it is variable, but Zarya, of course, is a super crucial component of your GOAT's composition, or really any composition that you're going to be putting her in there. It's, you know, her ability to deal damage and provide peel, you know, pretty unmitigated by any other hero in the game. So, you know, Phase 2, though, they're going to be coming back to this VOD. They did so well in the very beginning of the series and just, you know, capture a little bit more of that magic.
Yeah, it was a pretty good game. A lot of people thought that that would be a complete wipe, but it definitely was not. 3 maps, very, very close for this one. But in the end, Square One take this 3-1. And now we're going to be coming up onto our second game, which is Team Envy and Energy. So this one is going to be, as you like to say, I think Golden Boy was I think Golden Boy was one of the first to say it, a slobber knocker, right, of a fight.
I think Bren might have gotten a piece of that slobber knocker action too.
Did Bren
get some Bren. I think it was Bren.
Action?
He said it was a slobber knocker, so.
You know, that does feel more Brenny.
It does. It does feel very Bren-esque.
I'll confirm with him a little later. But we still have to get to that game, and I know we all want to, so we'll see you guys in 6 minutes.